Welcome to the Crimson Room or something like that.
Welcome to the Crimson Room, sweetie.
Welcome to the Crimson Room. Please take a seat.
No need to be nervous. The Crimson Room welcomes you.
Oh, welcome to the Crimson Room. You look so sweet.
Welcome to the Crimson Room. Enjoy your stay.
Hi. Welcome to the Crimson Room. Have a seat, please.
Welcome to the Crimson Room, darling.
Yara Daza. Welcome to the Crimson Room.
Oh, hello there. My master has been expecting you. Please, come this way and enjoy your time in the Crimson Room.
Yo, how is it going, everybody? It is I, your sadistic spirit guide, Yokai, Poppy Wolf, and we're back in the Crimson Room with a brand new lovely guest. Now, my lovely guest, would you want to introduce yourself?
No, I don't, but I'm going to anyways. Hi, my name is Hedron Fairy. You can find me everywhere under that name, and I am a variety streamer. I try to just branch out and do a whole bunch of stuff. Probably the most well-known stuff I do at this point is Tetris, because I'm a big into competitive Tetris, big fan of that. Other than that, I just play whatever. So, I like to fancy myself a somewhat creative individual who's never finished anything in their entire life. So, we're getting there. We're getting there, one step at a time. So, yeah, I think that's about it.
You're one of your fans, Zoik Scoob, is
One
here.
of my regulars, yeah.
One of your regulars is here saying, "Woo, let's go! Let's go! Woo!"
Good to see you, Shaggy. Hope you're having a fantastic evening.
That's awesome, yo! You have such fun fans. I dig it.
I like to think I'm really happy with the little community that's sprung up around me. They're absolutely to die for, and I'm thankful for every single one of them.
You're lucky. Mine are toxic.
I mean,
they really are toxic. I love them though. I love my toxic people.
Hey, a little toxicity is healthy now and then,
right?
Keeps you on your toes.
It's
Keeps
the
you
best
from
thing in the
complacent.
world. It's honestly
Right?
one of the best things in the world. Okay, so shall we go jump? Well, before we jump into questions, I can do toxic now and then. Well, I spoke too soon.
Uh-oh.
We spoke too soon about toxic fans, and it seems I was wrong about yours. No, I'm just kidding. It's all good. Toxicity is important in life, I would argue.
A little bit. Because, I don't know. Like I said, you can't get complacent. You always got to make sure to, deal with people. That's what you do. Learn how to deal with people. I'm tongue-tied. I apologize.
No, you're good. No worries. You just relax and just chill.
Yes, I am zen.
Time. We are zen.
That's what I say in my Tetris streams. I am zen.
I say
we are calm. We are cool. We are in control.
I'm chaos. Nothing is controlled.
Oh, well, wonderful. Where's the nearest exit?
Oh my lord. But continuing forward, I wanted to ask you something because I've always, I would say how we first got into contact with each other is such a fun way. It's such a genuine joy, and I have to say this: you gave one of the best catchphrases I've ever heard, and it's forever stuck with me ever since. Are you aware of this?
I have a catchphrase?
You had a catchphrase during a certain collab that had began how I got to know you as a person, or as a VTuber.
Wait, no, hang on. There's two different events this could be referring to, and I'm not sure which one specifically.
Oh, okay. So allow me to better explain how I got into contact with the first one.
Please do. I'm so sorry. My memory is absolute shit.
No, you're good. You're good. So,
can we swear? I should ask.
Oh no, yeah, we can fucking swear.
Okay, awesome. Penis. All right, moving on.
So, how I first met you is through the Crab Game collab that eventually became a Discord group that that came out of nowhere. But
right, yeah.
I'm happy. I will say this: I'm very happy to be a part of that Crab Game collab for one simple reason, and it's that it really showed me a lot of the fun personalities that are really in the VTubing community. Because when we did it, I have the video on my YouTube channel. Go ahead and check it out. You know, the little ad will be right there. Little ad, but there is a whole phrase, and I love it, and it's you who says this. I see no gods on this mountain, none but me. While you keep smacking everyone off the platform, and it is the funniest line I've ever heard.
Look, sometimes you just got to do it to them. All right, you have to assert dominance.
It is truly the best. I genuinely just enjoy it to such a T. Like, it's never like every time I rewatch my old videos, I will rewatch that one, and I'm like, oh my god, Hedron. Like, there's a whole thing of like just wins after wins with you, I think, or like some of the good kills with you, and I'm just like, oh my Jesus, oh my.
Keep up with Prim. That was the whole thing. You gotta keep up with Prim.
I miss Prim. I need to.
Because she was the one she was the beast who was knocking everybody off of everything. She was out for blood. I had to keep up
insane.
With her.
Shout out to Primula. She's Princess Primula, one of the funnest VTubers I got to ever like have a joy with. She killed me. She genuinely pushed me. It's a beautiful kill.
Times.
Oh yes, and there's a couple good ones with our good friend Shonen where he dies quite a bit, but that's besides the point.
Pretty much.
But yeah, that is exactly how I got to like first meet you. And dude, that Crab Game collab, you guys can probably go watch it on a bunch of our YouTube videos or YouTube VODs of it, but you can see genuinely we are having such fun. The competitiveness between everybody was such a joy.
I think we lucked out that everyone there was a perfect balance of like really wanting to win, but also nice and chill when it came to like sportsmanship. Like,
oh, especially
we all
had
RNG. That drive, but we were
especially during the RNG portions, we're like, oh shoot, oh here we go.
My biggest memory of those is that every time it would come to one of those games where it was like there were two paths and you had to like jump between them, otherwise you'd die. Everyone else was always like, well, who wants to go first? Because who wants to find the bad path? I was always like, just fuck it, jump on one, see what happens. I always died. I never won because I was always the first one. But I was like, if y'all are too pussy to go across this bridge, I'm gonna go across the bridge.
I think one of my favorite memories is the fact that there is like the bomb one. You know, the bomb one where everyone is just like, someone holds the bomb for a couple seconds, and some people just would hog that bomb. They would hog that bomb until that last millisecond and just touch somebody. And it was like, God, this is a dangerous game to play if you like, you have like a sense of time frame and everything.
Out here breaking friendships is what we do.
Oh my God, I felt what's funny is that game established a lot of friendships. Like, I think that whole collab like grew because of like everyone was like, bro, we should do this more often. We should collab again and play more games like this more often.
You know, it's funny. I'm really happy that happened too. But originally, it was Toa of all people you can thank for me even being here and being part of this community in the first place. Because after that collab was done, I left the server because I was just like, well, the collab's done.
Yeah.
And I don't know any of these people. So I'm like, well, let me go ahead and, go back and do my own thing. It was Toa of all people who like hounded me. And I'm exaggerating when I say this, but hounded me and dragged me back to the server kicking and screaming, saying, no, you are going to be a part of this community. You are going to like it. So
I think
you have him to thank for the fact that I stayed. Of course, I loved the fact that I stayed. I'm really happy that I was dragged back, but like, I had no intention of staying originally.
I think what made, I think Toa genuinely enjoyed seeing everyone just naturally just collab and be like genuine with each other so much that he was like, yo, why don't we have this but frequently? And it worked out for a bit. And even after you left the initialness of like the server before it got reconstructed into like instead of being a
A
crowd
big
game
public
server.
monstrosity.
Yeah. There was a moment where I was like, dang, Hedron's not here, dude. Like, and he was having the most fun during crowd game. I wish he would have stayed. Like, they were so badass. And I'm just like, oh man, I guess they weren't really like, they kind of weren't into like the whole, okay, this is gonna go from being a crowd game Discord to like literally like a whole new like friend Discord, or like chaotic, just a bunch of VTubers hanging out. It felt, you know what it felt like in the early days? It felt like you ever see like the Real World or like the Jersey Shore, like those were like 10 roommates who know nothing about each other get into a, that's how it felt. It was like putting a bunch of like different types of personalities together, and it just throwing up chaos. It was like, okay, this person's like this person's like this. Oh, did you hear about this? And it was just, lack for a better word, it was insane. Like mad Real World.
It was fun though. Like I said, I'm really glad that like I was pulled back and like made to be part of the community, because I really enjoyed meeting all of you and getting to know people, and the fact that I was just welcomed with such open arms was weird to me. This is going to be a bit of a side tangent, but this whole like being welcomed into a community and like meeting nice people and all that shit is relatively new to me. I don't have a lot of positive experiences being out there in the world socializing. Yeah, there's a reason that I'm like nervous around people. So just the fact, like, it's bizarre just how much of a positive experience all of this has been for me. And I still, because I tweet about it all the time, how I'm like, guys, I don't know how to handle all this positivity. This is new to me. So if I don't react appropriately, I apologize. But this is new to me.
That's interesting. Like, yeah, because I would say like, I think a good amount of us remembered you from the Crab Game collab, and everybody else was just naturally like, oh, more friends. Please, be friends with us. And you're like, these people are acting way too nice. Why are they acting way too nice?
Like something's going wrong. What's everyone's motive here? But
oh my lord.
That was great.
No, definitely. I would say some of my favorite moments of it, like early days on in that server, even the server now is like, I still enjoy it, but I like to think
I don't want to talk bad. I really don't, and I genuinely am really glad that Toa is like following his dream and making the VTuber networking Discord of his dreams. I really am. I don't vibe with the larger community that he's, fostering. And I'm glad that it's public. I don't believe in exclusivity. I don't vibe with that community much anymore. And I'm willing to give it another try, just not right now.
You know what it is? I think it's kind of like I call it the Justice League. You ever see the Justice League cartoon?
I have not, actually. I've never been into superheroes.
Oh, well, so genuinely, like the first couple seasons of like the Justice League TV show, it is just these core members of the Justice League. And then eventually, like they make 2 new seasons, or like 2 revamped seasons, where it's like the Justice League, but opening up to like a whole bunch of other superheroes. So it's like it becomes a whole big like network of like superheroes all together. And I was like, dude, that's how it literally feels. Like we had our own core, like our own specialty, our own core member kind of core group shenanigans that like not a lot of people in that server like would ever, I wouldn't say they ever recreate or ever like match or anything like that. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying like it's it's like it's like when the old heads are like, when we're like the old people are like, y'all weren't there since day one, y'all don't know how it is, and they're like, what do you mean day one? And you're like, oh, you don't even know. It's like,
you know what I'm not afraid to do a little bit of calling out right now. We're about to get a little bit spicy.
Shit.
So I gave this new larger community a fighting chance, right? Just one so far, but I gave it a fighting chance. I was sat in VC with like 20 other people.
You're crazy. You're 20?
Which already, it probably was less than 20, but it was more than 10, I assure you.
Oh my lord, that's a headache for me.
But like everybody in there just had their model on, so I'm like, why not? I will too, because that's what we're doing. That's what we're all here for. But I joke all the time about how I'm not narcissistic enough to be a streamer, right? And I stand by that in a lot of ways. I'm like developing my self-confidence more because, like I said, this has been such a ridiculously positive experience overall. I've met a lot of great people, and I'm learning to, think more highly of myself because of this. I've received so much support as time has gone by that it's getting harder and harder to like listen to that little voice in my head that's going, saying the bad things. So it's still there, but I'm working on it.
I get it.
Yeah.
You're
But like,
yeah.
But like how do I put this? When I was in that VC, it really reminded me what I mean when I say I'm not narcissistic enough to be a streamer. Because it's fun to joke about, oh, haha, I'm not one to use hashtags, I'm not one to do this and that. But like, these people, every 5 minutes, somebody else would chime in, regardless of what else was being talked about, and go, hey, so am I the only one who X? Like, out of nowhere, completely changing the subject. And it just happened consistently. And it was, I don't want to call anybody out specifically, but I'm not afraid to say that the small indie VTuber community, little bit full of themselves, just a little bit, it was just strange because everyone was being very polite, everyone was very nice, everyone was listening for their turn, but God, did they take their turn when they got the microphone to start speaking. It was an experience. And again, I don't want to shit talk anybody, and genuinely, props to Toa for running his server, and I love the fact that it's public. I'm glad there's a space for that to go, for people to go, but I'm gonna let the community thin out a little bit. I'm gonna find the little pocket that I vibe with. So.
Man, I don't want to tell Toa, like, Toa, you should just have like a fucking a section that's like hidden off that says for OGs only. Which would be interesting. It'd be like every OG would. Yeah.
The worst part, he has that founding fathers role, which I think is fine because it's like, hey, these are the people who helped rebuild the server, and this is for the friends. I'm glad that exists, but I turned it down. he wanted to give it to me, and I turned it down because, like I said, I don't believe in exclusivity. I don't like being special, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So but that option is available. If you're one of the OGs, Toa will make you a founding. I'm sure if you were one of those people, Toa will make you a founding father. But like,
most likely,
yeah. But I turned it down because I love these people to death. Toa, if you're listening,
we love you.
To you.
We love you.
I genuinely think you're doing fantastic. I want to make that clear.
I still think you're a bottom.
Obviously. But
yeah.
Honestly, he's living out a dream that I have. Like, his server is doing so well. I'm genuinely jealous of it. I'm extremely happy that he has this community. It's just not a community that I vibe with at the moment. So,
thank you for that. I wanted to bring something up that your boy Zoik Scoob brought up. Is there's a difference between streaming for fun and streaming for attention, and I wholeheartedly agree. There is a big difference, and I learned this because your boy sometimes is I'm very narcissistic, and I am not afraid to admit that. I have sociopathic like tendencies, and sometimes I have to check myself. And one thing I realized, I was like, I need to turn off. For me, when I stream, I turn off the view count. I don't want to look at the view count, and like I think that's something that's for people who stream for fun need to do more often is turn off the view count and just stream for fun. Have a good time and don't worry about the numbers, because if you're streaming for attention, you can kind of smell it. It's that smelly smell.
The smelly smell that smells smelly.
Exactly. And that's why I like the fact that your boy Zoic Scoop brought that up. I was like, dude, that is a big thing. And in regards to like, the whole community and stuff like that we were a part of, like, I genuinely love it. I would love to be more vocal in there, but it's kind of like it went from the Breakfast Club to the Breakfast Lounge, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go eat somewhere else for now. I'll be back when I'm craving something. I will be here. Don't get me wrong. If I'm craving a bite, I'm about to come through. But like as of now, I'm like, this is so many people, and I ironically have huge social anxiety online more than IRL. Like online, I feel like I don't have any social skills at all. Prior to like, of course, IRL, where I can, navigate and communicate a conversation. That's why I'm like, how do I talk to people? How do I talk to people online? How do I talk to the newbies? Like, how do I talk to these freshmen? I feel like a senior all over again.
I was literally having a conversation with a friend of mine before we got started.
Really?
It was, just, lamenting the lack of ability to socialize. And, like, I get the struggle. I really do. But at some point, you do got to realize that we're all people, and the worst someone can do is say, look, stop talking to me. Just message people. That's my best advice. That's my best advice to everyone out there. Just message people. What are they going to do? Turn you down?
I say message people, but I would like, and it's kind of like when I tell this to people, like, before you call me, please text me or let me know you're going to call me.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if you're going to message me, communicate with me first, like a post or like comment on something. That way I know, like, oh, okay, yeah, I know who you are. You comment or like my stuff. You can definitely message me, but if it comes out of the blue, I'm like, is this an ad? Are you are you trying to set me up?
Exactly. In fact, you want to know, I have one genuine piece of social advice out there for everybody who struggles, like, to be social. The one thing I can genuinely say, like, legitimate advice, if you want to talk to somebody, have a reason to. Always, every time, always have a reason. Always go in with either a question or a goal, or go in with, hey, I'm contacting you for this reason. Because that takes a lot of pressure off of both parties. Because then that person's like, oh, this person just, in fact, front load your communication with, hey, I'm contacting you for this reason. Because that immediately gives you a jumping off point of, okay, we're trying to accomplish this goal together, and I'm trusting you to help me get what I need, and you're trusting me to, not be a serial killer. And that way the common ground is established. And then once that goal is completed, you now have context for, okay, does it seem like this person wants to keep talking to me? If so, I can keep talking to them. That's when the small talk happens. How's the weather? What are you up to? Things like that. Or if they're very short and very, okay, here's the information, now go away, then with no awkward exchanges, this person doesn't want to talk to me. So
that is solid advice. Like, no joke, like right now, I never thought about message somebody for a purpose. Like, I want something, like, I need something out of a person, but like, I want to, blase with this person.
Oh, yeah, and it doesn't always have to be like, I want something from this person. It can be as simple as, I have a question for you.
Yeah,
or something like that. So
that's
just something that I've noticed through years of being a socially awkward nerd who doesn't know how to talk to people. I've got socialization down to a science. Turns out it's a really easy thing to do. Everyone just sucks at it.
You know what? You're not wrong. You're definitely not wrong. Oh my lord! You know how right now I am like, my mind is being blown out of the idea of like, oh, dude, that just makes so much sense. And you're, I think another viewer of yours, I hear VTV lookup. What? I heart
V lookup. Yeah.
Yeah, like they're out here.
You just call her V lookup.
V lookup. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my god, they just came in right now. Zoic Scoops at ASL.
ASL. Yep. I mean, hey, the worst part is that's an establishing goal. You're up front, like, hey, I have these 3 questions for you.
Your age, your sex, and then your language. Wait, your location.
Location, yeah. Obviously, you don't want to ask those of somebody you just met. That's very bad starter. But at least it's a starter. It is a starter. It's something.
I have the worst, like, say, like, the first thing, you know what it is? You know how I say hi to people? I, like, will comment on their thing. I'm like, hey, that's cool. I like that. And then I hope they message me back. That is my game. That is, like, how I, like, talk to people. They follow me, I follow them back, and then I'm like, I'll like something, I'm like, hey, that's cool. I like that. Or I say outrageous things and see what they say. Oh my god, this is fun. I love doing this kind of stuff. But
in fact, if you want to go that method, one thing I have noticed as far as the more passive, not having to contact somebody, is if you're going to go that route, if you're going to just respond to them and just like passively interact with them, you just have to be a lot more patient and a lot more consistent. Don't stalk them. There's a fine line between interacting with somebody a lot and stalking somebody. But if you want to get to know somebody, turn their notifications on and respond to their tweets. Like, that's the best way. But, like, do it consistently. Have something to say.
That's accurate.
Honestly, now that I'm saying that out loud, if you genuinely find yourself constantly having nothing to say to a person, it's entirely possible y'all won't make good friends anyways.
Right? Yeah, dude. Like, that's how I feel like I think the best thing you can do, especially if you want to get to know somebody, and because everyone mostly streams, and I always tell people, if you genuinely vibe with a person, look what they post, their content, go on their live streams here and there, and check how the vibe is. And if it's something you can like genuinely like vibe with, then of course just hang out and say hi here and there, and make a small make a small name for yourself. Just make yourself familiar with them. It's kind of like in like the mob movies when they're like, hey, this is a friend of ours, and they're like, oh, nice to meet. Yes, it's a pleasure to meet you, sir.
Especially, I can't speak for larger streamers with an established audience, but for smaller streamers that are still trying to find their footing, I can tell you right now, the quickest way to a small streamer's heart is through their chat box.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
You want to make friends with a streamer? Talk to them while they're streaming. They will absolutely love it. I
think just general conversation with any streamer is always a vibe. Like I never don't like anybody who comes in and says hi and like talks and wants a genuine conversation or ask me any like genuine questions. I will always be like, yo, yeah, I treat you like you treat everybody. I treat everybody else who comes in this chat box. You are just as special as anyone else that comes in, because guess what? You want to talk, and I'm gonna be conversational. That's a word, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Too many people do things just because other people do them. Yeah, even
faster way to streamers' heart is through their redeems, but
Oh, the redeems. Well, that's how you either become their best friend or their worst nightmare.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But Lord knows they will remember it.
Oh, they will remember like a telltale game. So and so remembers.
Exactly. This action will have consequences.
But moving on forward, I wanted to ask you something. What inspired the fairy model?
So it's not a fairy; it's a human.
Ooh.
I'm going to make a whole separate video on this topic because there's a lot of
clip this chat. Clip this.
Well, how do I put this? I don't want to sound like artsy and pretentious, but I'm about to sound real artsy and pretentious. But there's a lot of thought that went into my username, my logo, and my design. Like, none of this was chosen arbitrarily. And as far as like my design goes, the overall point of it is that this is the most accurate reflection of who I think I am, like, deepest down inside. And I know it's it's like flashier than you'd expect, but that's because I consider myself not necessarily a performer, but an entertainer. That's like my goal in life is to be an entertainer, is to put things out in the world for people to enjoy.
I see.
And that's why I went with, the performer motif and the color scheme specifically. People ask me all the time, why'd you go with pink and black? That's because of my family. I'm not going to lie. Pink and black to me is a combination of my parents. And
that's awesome.
Yeah. So my whole, especially the fact that it's black primary with pink trim, that was again deliberately chosen because, again, that's to me a representation of where I come from essentially.
I see.
The stars have another reason, and I'll explain that in a future video potentially.
I can't wait. I can't wait because I'm genuinely interested because there's so much to unpack. Because when I first saw your model, I was like, oh, is this kind of like a reference to like 7 Deadly Sins?
Not quite.
Yeah, I don't know if you're familiar with 7 Deadly Sins, right?
I know of it. I haven't seen it. It's on my list.
Yeah, it has one of the races, like the fairy race and that are like very androgynous. So that's why I was like, oh, is it like a shout out to like 7 Deadly Sins where it's very androgynous kind of vibes?
That was part of it actually, is I went with something that was feminine but just andro enough to make you think, but what if? And that was again chosen on purpose because I'm not going to go into that either, but that was chosen on purpose.
Guys, if you want to go in on it, he's going to have a whole YouTube video out coming soon, so y'all better get ready for it.
Honestly, I want to get started on that so bad, and I'm probably going to have it ready for my debut. Wink, wink. It's going to be eventually. I promise. I'm just having external issues.
I cannot wait.
But I'm going to probably explain all that. Regarding the username specifically, I'm going to give you a hint right now. There are no fairies on Zendikar. That's your hint for the username. So
I like. You know what's funny? One of the people that Zoink Scoop said that there are no fairies in Zendikar, and I was like, interesting. Like, it's so interesting. There's so much like hidden things here that I don't get to like it's inside jokes on inside jokes, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I wish I knew.
It's less inside jokes and more information I'm purposefully keeping to myself so I can reveal it later. And it's not like it's a huge deal, but my username specifically holds a lot of personal meaning, both to me and I think to a lot of people who have heard it, because it just... I'll explain what it means eventually, because I'm, like I said, holding the information back. But it's something that I think a lot of people can relate to. There are a lot of Hedron Fairies out there. I just happen to be the one who took the name.
Damn, this is so like enticing. I feel like I'm getting teased in different ways. I'm like, you're like
a little bit.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, what is like now? I want to ask more, but I'm like, this is how they get you. This is why you guys gotta go follow Hedron Fairy and just get ready for when all of this tea is spilled. Y'all need to be on it.
Tell you what, right? I don't know who all's here, but you want to do a poll, see if anybody wants me to spill it right now or hold off, because I'm willing to do that.
Most of the people here are your chat, so they're gonna be ready to
fair.
They're gonna be like, you better spill that. Guys, you guys hear it? Hey, you guys want a poll? How about this? Put a 1 in the chat if you want to hear a peek, at least a peek. I'll allow a little peek because I don't want to get.
Oh yeah, I can do a peek.
Yeah, 1's in the chat if you guys want to peek. Oh no, your chat is loyal. They're like, nah, we ain't about it. We don't want to hear yet. No reveal. Oh no, Heartbeat wants one. They wants a peek. Oh my god. This is
1-1 so far.
If we get a tiebreaker, we'll see.
We'll see.
I'll take myself out of the equation.
Both Reteach and Sixbane will show up at some point and just vote for whatever they don't want me to want them to vote for. That sentence made sense, but
row tie score. Row tie score. We'll keep this during the whole stream. That way it's fair to everyone who is not here yet. That way they can everyone can vote. You know,
I'm totally bullshitting this. You don't have to like if you don't.
I think it's a fun thing. I want to try to allow this to like go on. I think it'd be interesting.
I think it'd be fun. Yeah.
Oh my lord.
But yeah, the long story short is that everything was chosen very deliberately, and at the end of the day, it's just a representation of who I am on the inside. Like I've spent so many years of my life through various personal experiences and problems that I've had, just doing a lot of soul searching. So I like to think I know myself very well. So all of this was chosen kind of to reflect all of that, you know?
You know what? That kind of answers what my next question was going to be, which was, why did you pick VTubing over like just casual face streaming? And you kind of answered it already. You've already...
You know, the worst part is there's more to that question.
Oh, really?
Because this is going to come as a shock to some people, unless you know me very well. I don't like VTubers.
Oh, really?
I'll let that sink in for a second.
Interesting.
So let me elaborate, because that's like, it's not 100% accurate.
I will say this. I like the commitment to that, because then now it bears a strong response. No matter who you say that to, it's kind of like the best publicity ever. Okay, continue.
A little bit. So when I say that, I specifically mean the corporate side of things, because I'm in general, not to get political, but I'm generally a very anti-corporate person more and more as time goes by. And these big streamer organizations like HoloLive, VShojo, Nijisanji, I'm just not a fan. I don't like them. And it doesn't help that they're so oversaturated. Like, there's an image board that I like to go to. I have had to mute the HoloLive tag because it is just so everywhere, and I'm not a fan. I never have been. And I feel like a big part of it is because I missed the boat on getting into Kizuna Ai when she was first, doing this whole VTubing thing.
Yeah.
I could never really get into her content, and so I missed the boat on getting into the rest of everything else. But I was always casually drawn to the idea of using a virtual character to represent yourself as opposed to using yourself for even far removed from reasons of privacy or anything like that. I just think the concept is extremely interesting, especially these days when they're pushing for like that metaverse bullshit, which we all know is really stupid. But
it's stupid, but it can be made money off of.
Exactly. Well, not just that. I think the core concept is sound, just the metaverse itself is a stupid implementation of it. But the idea of representing yourself online with a character is fascinating to me because the customization options are endless. Like, especially getting into Vroid, because right now this is a Vroid model. I started off with, I'll explain this later if you're curious, but I started off with a separate proprietary program that was too restrictive. So I'm glad I finally moved to Vroid, because Vroid allowed full customization.
Was it
and
Blender?
As I'm sitting here, it was not.
Oh.
It was Blender would have had even more freedom than Vroid, but
yeah, I know. That's what I was like, because Blender is difficult. It can be very difficult and challenging.
Extremely. I'll learn it someday.
That's what I always say.
Yeah. Moving to Vroid, it was a strange experience because as I'm trying to transfer all like my original design to Vroid, I'm realizing I can just change whatever I want arbitrarily. Like, there's no restrictions here. I'm literally making my own textures. The clothing options you have in Vroid, they're relatively restrictive, but like you can do transparency to cut them. Like my jacket, for example, right? This is the like lab coat preset on Vroid, and it goes down all the way to your knees and the sleeves go out to your wrists. I just added transparency and now it doesn't anymore.
Ooh.
Like, that's how robust the program is, because I couldn't find another way to like get the jacket to work. But that's how robust this program is. And it was crazy because I was just realizing I can just do whatever I want with this. The logo on the jacket, on the little corner there, that wasn't part of my original design. I added it because I had the option to, because I'm like, well, I want my logo on my design somewhere. You can't see it because I'm like, I had to face forward and turning around would be a pain in the ass right now. But I've got the logo on my back too. Like, it's at the back of the jacket. And I can do that now. I couldn't in the original program, but I can now. And that crazy amount of freedom, that idea that you can express yourself with your digital avatar in a way that you could never in real life. You can customize your body all you want. It'll never reach the same level as, I mean, you've seen VTuber designs. That's not clothes you can go grocery shopping in.
Yeah.
But online, it doesn't matter what you look like. And that concept fascinates me so much. I've never been into VTubers, but VTubing in general has always been attractive to me just because you can be whatever you want. And that's awesome to me.
It's a powerful thing.
Welcome to the metaverse, exactly.
Well, isn't it? I wanted to, I genuinely agree with a lot what you're saying, but my issues are different when it comes to like these corporate like VTubing things. And for example, as much as I love VTubing, I'm not a huge Hololive fan, and I only know like a couple members. And I think I was like, okay, like I'm just not a Hololive fan. I do like a lot of V-Shoujo. But one of my biggest things with V-Shoujo, and it kind of, I'm not trying to like dog it, but it happened with this recent controversy, was like, y'all really did get business over like friendship. And that really disappointed me. And I understand. I mean, hey, I understand sometimes you got to put business before friendship, but when you sell your whole marketing scheme is not marketing scheme. That sounds sinister, but kind of true. It's true. We're friends with everybody. We're friendly. Only to in turn, like, just viciously attack a friend of yours who honestly, I understand everyone's point of view in this whole situation, but was looking out for you guys and did not want any harm to come to you. So they went through your company, and their company allowed certain things to happen, and it's just one of those things where like it goes to show like, yo, you guys, I get it. Everyone's real life. In real life, some people are fake as fuck. And some people are, I'm going to get a little angry here. People are going to get a little triggered. But some people are hella fake as fuck. And it just goes to show like a lot of V-Shoujo members are very much about themselves first, which I understand, self-preservation and everything. I understand that to a degree. But again, it really comes off shady when your earlier content was with a person who you're friends with and you genuinely vibe with. And it's one of those things where as fans, I see who are the truth, like who are a core, like in V-Shoujo, who are friends with each other and who are just business associate acquaintances with. Like, you're having fun because this is a person I work with, compared to, no, this is a person I genuinely will talk to like offline on my off hours. And I think for me personally, it's so transparent now. Like, the veil's been on, like, since all this controversy that's happened with them, the veil's been like fucking taken over. Now people are seeing a lot of these groups for what they are, and it's been very, very unsettling for like a lot of these groups. And I think that's why now, like, a lot of indie groups, I always tell them, like, I genuinely hope that you guys are starting this with the idea of like, hey, we just want to have fun together and just be like, you know, be friendly and enjoy each other's company. Because once it gets to a point where y'all will sell each other off because of a discrepancy, or like because your business tells you to, or like it's a business move to do this and that, I'm just saying, it changes things. And I don't want to see that happen to, like, especially friends community that I'm with. Like, we have such interesting friends from like just low, you know, I don't want to say low, but from small to like decently big VTubers. I would hate that happens to one of them eventually, like where they're put in a situation where they feel like they have to pick money or business or like self-preservation over friendship, which is something I don't want to put on anybody, because that is such a hard thing to ask of literal anyone. You either keep making your money or stand by your friend.
I'll never get on anybody's case for wanting to go corporate, because that's what we're all here for.
Exactly.
We want to succeed, and corporations are a fast track. But I will make fun of you till the end of the day, till the end of time. If you go corporate, like, congratulations on succeeding, but you're a filthy corpo now.
I can never go corporate. I say too much foul things.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what I always say.
I'm even with all that, I'm more than willing to give the actual performers, like the ground level, the actual streamers, the benefit of the doubt in saying that they're just trying to make a living and that they're just doing their best. You know, I'm willing to give them that they're
doing what they
don't
love.
have bad intentions. And at the end of the day, I will also defend to the death people's right to be a fan of whatever they want to be. If you're super into Niji Sanjay or Hololive or whatever, more power to you. I'm so happy that you found like something to be into, something to, you know, the world is terrible. Please enjoy like corporate VTubers. Just, it's important to remember that these companies do not have your back, and
they do not.
People need to realize that no matter how friendly they are, companies are not out to be your friends, and
they want
you can
your money.
Enjoy them, but exactly, they want your money. And as long as they're providing something you like and want to support, by all means, give them your money. Just don't be afraid to say no. It's kind of what
I would say this: just be mindful and look through things through multiple lenses, so you're not
be mindful. That's the important thing,
heartbreaking. Because I will say, and I'm not afraid to say this, I was heartbroken during the controversy with V Shoujo, like seeing them for what they really are. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do like some of the members. I still will enjoy watching their content, but I'm not afraid to say there's a lot of members that I'm just like, this is a weird thing to say, I could smell your fakeness, and it's such a turnoff that I just don't want to ever like watch your content like how I used to. I can't enjoy your content like I used to.
The worst part is that applies to small time indies as well. That's one of the reasons that the best advice I can always give to people is don't get into it for attention or to be successful. Get into it because you enjoy it. And I've stopped saying that because, you know, you don't want to just be doing it for attention. Because I've slowly come around to the idea that we're all trying to be successful, so we should be helping each other. Not like make fun of each other for it. Care about numbers. Just don't be a dick about it. But you still have to get into it enjoying it as opposed to wanting success, because people can tell when you're not enjoying yourself. Like, people can absolutely tell if you're just in it for attention, or if you're just it doesn't matter who you are, how big you are, people can tell. And as long as you're up there and doing what you love, as long as you're one of those people who, you can care about numbers all you want, but as long as it doesn't bother you that they're low, people can tell that. Hell, sometimes I get to the point where I'm starting to get a little like awkward or weird that, you know, nobody's here. I'm like feeling weird about doing a 0 viewer stream. At that point, I don't want to say I will cut it because that makes me feel bad, but I will go ahead, outro myself, and go ahead and leave for a while, because I'm like, I'm no longer putting out the energy that I would want to watch. So I'm going to go ahead and take a break. And usually that hits around the 3-hour mark for me. But
I can agree with that. I think for me, that was a big thing, but I think what I taught myself was, I'm going to use this. I'm going to stream not just to like, you know, stream, but I'm streaming and having fun and seeing it through multiple lenses that, okay, I'm streaming, I'm gonna have a good stream, I'm gonna have fun regardless, up to down to the time I want to stream, not just so that way if people come in or not, that's cool. If I have one person in, that's perfectly fine. If I have like 5 or 6, that's perfectly fine. But I'm thinking like big, like I think a bit long term. I was like, okay, I had a good stream, great, now let me cut it up and use some clips for YouTube, some for TikTok, some for Twitter. That way, like, people are like, oh, like, dang, he looks like he's having fun. And I it's kind of like, I'll gladly take a weakness in view count if I'm able to provide solid content other, like, elsewhere, where it can be seen as, oh damn, that was funny, or oh dang, like that. Like, it's definitely hard to constantly be in like that mode, but I think that's like, that'll encourage me from going from the beginning to the end of the stream, instead of being, you know what, there's only like 2 people in here, I've been streaming for like 3 hours, let me just cut it now, because obviously, like, I'm already exhausted with putting energy, like, and I think that was for me personally, I was like that. I don't think that's a very good mindset to have. Like if there's one person in there, even if I'm just entertaining myself, I have to give it all. Like, I'm a fucking comedian. Like, I have to, like, sell the show. Like, if it's 1,000 or 1,000,000 people, even if there's only like 1 or 2, because regardless, like, I have to always be at that level. So when eventually more people come, they're like, oh, that's awesome. Or if a couple people come, like, oh, that's awesome. I don't want to ever do a bad show. And I think that comes from theater for me. My professor, because I one time said the worst excuse ever, and he looked at me with like the dead eyes, like straight up it looking eyes, and he was like, what did you just say? I was like, oh, it's just a matinee show, like it's a morning show, like it doesn't really matter if we're good or bad. And he was like, he said this, shout out to Ruff Yeager, he goes, that kind of attitude and behavior is disgusting for an actor to ever have. You should treat every member of that audience like they are the most special person in the world. They are here to see you, so you give them a reason, give them their money's worth. It doesn't matter if they come in at 11 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock. They paid for a show, and you owe it to them as an artist to give them their money's worth. To disrespect them like that is disgusting of an actor. And I was like, oh my god, I'm a fucking asshole. I'm so sorry. Like, and it was a really checking moment, and it really taught me, like, you know what, like, that's very disrespectful of me as a human being to like devalue their presence, especially since they're here to see me, and think, oh, even if it's just, this amount of people at this time of day, they don't really care. I'm not going to give them the best of me. I should be constantly giving the best of me so that they can go rave and tell the people, like, and it's a very hard thing to kind of accept, especially when you're like, but I don't want to have to like put in so much effort if only a few people are going to come. But it definitely does make me go like, you know what? I gotta be respectful. No worries, Path. Thank you for coming in. Me and Hedron here are just we're having such an intellectual conversation. Can we just point this out? Can we just talk about
intellectual? I'm belly aching. I don't know about you.
We're not talking, because I think we're talking about big concepts, like a lot of concepts, and just not in just streaming, but in general.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I was about to go a lot bigger all of a sudden.
Oh, we're gonna go bigger? Let's keep going.
Well, because we were talking about, it doesn't matter what size your audience is, you should still give it 100% because it's something that you enjoy. It's funny. I, as a creative person, and it still feels weird to call myself that, but like I said, I have to admit it at some point.
Yes.
But one thing that I've struggled with for a long time, and that I'm only recently learning the lesson of, is the concept of work for yourself, don't work for others. And I know that seems like, because that's the go-to artist advice everyone gives you, is no matter what you're doing, makes for yourself first and make for others second. And I struggled with that for so long, because my entire life has always been about, I want to make something for my friends to enjoy, be it, a board game or alternate rules for something we're doing, or even just like, hey, I made, a map on this video game we all play or something. It was always with the idea of, I want them to have fun. And it started to weigh on me a little bit as I went through high school and started to, learn more. And I was struggling a little bit. And it got to the point where no one liked what I was doing anymore. Like, it's just, all my ideas were bad back then. So I had to like step back and reevaluate and start to learn, okay, I had to look inside myself and realize I need to start working on things that I want first, and that will then translate, because the idea is you work on things that you want, how much fun you're having and how much care you're putting into it will show, and you'll find an audience that way. And that's something that I'm still learning, something that I'm still trying to do. I'm still trying to make myself realize that, you know, I have to make things that I like, because if I don't like it, no one else will, you know?
And yes, like, that's very genuine, and I think that's a hard hole to fall down as a streamer, as a content creator in general. Like, there's a point where, like, am I even enjoying this anymore? Am I even like having fun? And the second we have to start asking ourselves that question, I think we have to take that step back, reevaluate everything that we're doing, and work it into something different. And I think that's why I like doing the Crimson Room, is because I don't have a set way of doing stuff in this. And I think I try to keep it to a set thing, and I realize that in some episodes, like, I sound kind of boring, or I don't sound like I'm having as much fun as just genuinely like vibing with a friend. And it's like, you know what, like, let me just do it this way for an episode and see how that looks. And like, especially when as I go through episodes, I keep figuring out the rhythm. I find that like this kind of setup where I'm allowing natural flow conversation to go. I'm not keeping things together with the questions, but allowing the questions to be more suggestive, or like conversation openers, and or like just jumping off points to getting to something else. Like allowing them, allowing them to just be like that, and not just so like strictly like on question. Like it just becomes a smoother experience. And I think like right now, like, we're just vibing, we're having a good time, and like all of this right now is just, it's been honestly so fun. Like, I can't, like I said, we are talking about things that like we would probably talk about on voice call, or like during during playing a game. And I think like just being able to focus on just this conversation, instead of like, okay, well, they're having a gaming mode and they're getting killed, like we're gonna be playing Valorant and dying and having the same conversation. But
yelling at each other for not being at point A, right?
Because I don't know, everyone wants to flank through B, or no one wants to go through A, or everyone wants to try to like be the hero, or like set up shop and get ready to like, no one's gonna go through A. Oh, God, I don't want to play Valorant. Dang it.
There's a reason I don't.
Valorant is toxic, dude.
Oh, I've heard, yeah.
It is.
I watch Juicy10 play it sometime. God, that game is toxic.
Dude, I will say,
for what it's worth, sorry, but I was just gonna say, for what it's worth, I think you emanate the energy of somebody who's been doing this for a very long time.
Thank you. I try.
Yeah.
I try. The illusion is strong. The genjutsu is working.
The illusion is strong. There you go. Perfect.
But no, dude. My only hiccup with Valorant is I played one time with a friend, and she was like, "Hey, like, I have these kind of friends that take things seriously. Like, do you want to play with us?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And I don't mean, I'm not an ageist. I am not an ageist at all. But to have a 14-year-old girl try and yell at me, or like, she was like 16 or 17 or something. She was young. I'm 25. I'm a decent adult. To have like a child who like doesn't work or doesn't pay for anything to like get at me, I'm like, why are you doing that? When I was just like, oh, I just muted them. I was like, I don't want to hear you talk. Like, I can't say anything because I have to be the bigger person. I'm a whole adult.
Because you are literally the bigger person.
Yeah, I'm huge. I am a tall man. I am like, I could, don't get me started. I could roast with the best of them. But I just shut the fuck up, and I was like, you know what? She's a kid. It is what it is. These kids take these games very, very seriously. And my friend, I felt so bad because she was like, hey, I understand if you don't ever want to play with me again. I was like, no, dude, it's not like that. And she was like, I'm so sorry she came at you that way. Like, that is very like disrespectful. Like, I didn't mean to I didn't mean to put you in a situation like that. I was like, look, they're at the end of the day, these are kids. I understand, like, they take this game very seriously. I don't take this game seriously enough to like get mad. You know what it is? I don't take it seriously enough to get mad. I think that's the big problem with a lot of people have when it comes to like gaming and stuff, is like, I play just to have fun. I play so that way when I do wins or I get kills, I'm like, yo, yeah, I'm not a total fucking lame-o. but these people are
It's a
like
nice bonus, not necessarily the goal.
yeah, but people playing this and they're like fuck, God, fuck, like throwing like a huge fit, like punching the fucking monitor and throwing the PC, and I'm just like I can't. I don't have that bone in my body.
You know, it's funny. I have conversations a lot with some friends about like why people are into competitive things in general. And I consider myself a relatively competitive person when it comes to a lot of things. I'm into competitive Tetris, for Christ's sake. Anybody who watches my Tetris streams know that I'm genuinely trying as hard as I can to sweat the fuck out of that game.
I love Yu-Gi-Oh so much, and that's a very competitive card game.
I was into Magic for so long.
Oh,
competitive
my friend.
Magic. It would be so much fun if the community wasn't so toxic. And I'm like, but it's frustrating because to me, there's two kinds of being competitive, and that is there's the toxic, I'm here to win, but then there's the other one. And this is the other one that people don't really realize. The true competitive spirit of anything, a sport, a game, anything, is loving the process of learning.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it means to be competitive, truly. Because people who just care about winning, yeah, they'll learn because they have to, not because they want to. To be truly, to enjoy the process of being competitive, you have to enjoy learning your mistakes and learning to fix them. Like, that's something that I try to foster in myself so much. And what I encourage others to do is learn to love learning, basically.
I always say learn to love losing.
People always argue with me when I say that, though, which is why I've switched to learn to love learning.
Okay.
Because when you lose, like I was into competitive StarCraft for a long time. I was never any good at it, but I was in it for a while.
Yes.
And a big part of learning StarCraft is watching your replays. That's the only way to get better, is watching your replays, especially the games you lose. Because you have to figure out what your opponent did versus what you did, and learn to shore up your own deficiencies. And you have to watch yourself lose over and over again to be like that. But that was something that most people don't like doing because they don't want to watch themselves lose again. They just experience it and they got to watch it again. That sucks. I love it. I love going through and almost commentating my own games, picking apart my own strategies, realizing, oh, shouldn't have done that. Do that next time. But then I look at my opponent, I'm like, wait, he was doing this? Oh, I got to do this next time. That's the part that gets me. I love going into the next game thinking, don't do this again. Do this instead. We got a goal. We got a plan. Tetris is the same way. Always look back on your replays and think, okay, this is what I did wrong. This is what I do better. And that's how you get better at things. Fighting games, also something that I was into for a while.
Oof.
Watch replays, lab, learn to realize what it is you're doing wrong. But it's that process of, like I said, most people don't like watching their own replays because they don't like watching themselves lose. It's not about watching yourself lose, it's about taking notes. I got decent at Skullgirls from watching pros play Skullgirls.
Ooh.
Literally just watching them. Like, I don't know if I'm decent anymore because it's been years since I picked. My stick is gathering dust, I'm not going to lie. I haven't played fighting games in a long time. But that process of like just watching the pros play and then recognizing what moves they were using is like, I should try that technique next time. I should try this next time. Oh, you can do that with this character? I should try this next time. And it's that process of learning through osmosis almost that makes me want to go in and I don't know. I think I'm rambling at this point, but that's what I'm getting at is you have to enjoy the process of finding things out. Hell,
Yeah.
Tetris is a great example. Tetris is all about consistency and quick split-second decision-making, which is a skill you need to train, but there's also openers you can learn, techniques you can learn, builds that you can like assemble on the fly. You have to be able to figure out what your piece queue is and what you can build out of that. And the world of learning all these different techniques and setups and what you can, like how to fix this problem, how to build this T-spin, how to do this thing. That's why I love Tetris so much, is because there's so much depth to it that people don't. By the way, competitive Tetris, fascinating and always fun to watch. Really great spectator sport. Watch Tetris tournaments if you ever have some time.
I'm going to have to try this out sometime.
You should. It's wild. People who are good at Tetris scare me. but this idea of like the world of getting into something competitively is all about learning it, playing the game for the love of the game, exactly. And I'm sorry, I'm repeating myself and rambling again.
No.
The thoughts are half formed.
No,
but.
dude. Like I said, I have so much to like agree with on this because For example, like I'm horrible at a lot of video games, but I do not ever like what's the word I'm looking for? I don't ever like let it destroy my idea. Like for example, like I love Smash Brothers. I am horrible at Smash Brothers when it comes to like playing with my friends. But one thing I genuinely enjoy is when as I'm playing with a character that I'm okay, I like this character. And my buddy's like, bro, let me tell you why I use this character because he's best, this and that. I have you ever see Limitless where he takes the drug and then he like hyper focuses on things and he's able to like get his brain like working like 1,000%?
I have not. I haven't heard of this. No.
It's a movie. It's a pretty good movie. But like when I play video games, I am horrible, and I don't ever get mad at losing. I noticed that the people who love dominating or love having some power in any like video game format, like they hate a loss to a person who has multiple losses, because then it now kind of it unbalances the scale. And that's why I love playing like video games with my friends who are really like overly competitive, because when I can take one win, it hurts them a lot more because they're like, oh, like you got lucky. I was like, I beat you 3 times, and they're like, shut the fuck up. And I'm like, I'll admit, like I'm just decently, like I'm learning. But
man, it's so funny you bring up Smash specifically, because like everyone's convinced that, all right, I'm not gonna lie, Piranha Plant's my main, and everyone's convinced Piranha Plant's like low mid at best. And I'm like consistently, I'm not saying I'm good at Smash, but I do manage to consistently beat some people in my friend group that are like actually good at the game. Yeah. And every time I do, I look at them and I go, by the way, Piranha Plant's trash. And they get so bad at me. It's so funny.
I genuinely love using Lucario. Lucario is a favorite. And I think the reason why I like using Lucario so much is when I play fighting games, I do not use the block button as much as I definitely should. And I think that's like
lesson number one.
That's the lesson number one in any fight game is block button should be your best friend, and it should, especially if it's like a counter block where if you time it right, you can like disarm the character. You should fucking learn that like a motherfucker. Me, no. But like when it comes to Lucario, since Lucario like he does better point damage as his percentage goes up, it's probably the best character for me, especially when if you time his counter right. It is disgustingly OP. And so like there's nothing better than when you fighting somebody and then you time that counter like just so perfectly that they fucking lose, and like you hear like, god damn it, god fucking damn it, how did I fall for that? I'm just like, just gonna take
the worst part is what I've taken away from that conversation is, hang on, Lucario has a passive that increases his damage as his damage goes up.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Like he's like the whole joke on it is Lucario's a masochist. He gets strong as he gets stronger as he's more beaten, which I guess because I guess that's kind of like he's a fighting Pokemon in the game mechanics. But the lesson I've learned when it comes to games is I've noticed that my friends who don't like losing will make sure that they play a fighting game or make sure they play a video game in which they have a strong monopoly on. Like one of my friends who I play Smash Brothers with, if I bring up, hey, let's play Injustice, or hey, let's play Mortal Kombat, he's the first one to go, fuck that, no. I'm like, why not? He goes, because I'm not good at it. And I'm like, but that's not fun though. Like, I don't like I'm gonna be real with you, I would be bored if I was a dominating person in a video game. Like, I love being lame because it makes with all due respect, I love being lame because it makes it like when I get a win that much more eventful.
The best feeling I think I've ever had on this subject, and there's a wider conversation to have here, but I have this little story to tell.
Please do.
Is I was in this comic shop with my friends once, right? Mm-hmm. And we had this laptop that we'd bring that I had Skullgirls on because we were into Skullgirls at the time. And we would just play it periodically because we had this laptop at this comic shop. I had my stick, they had controllers. We'd play it, right? Mm-hmm. Well, it was a public space, obviously. We were using like this wide open area. And one day, these 2 guys came in. They saw what we were doing, and they came over and they were asking us, hey, well, what are you doing? What game is this? How does this work, right? Mm-hmm. And me being, I'm not the best fighting game player in the group, that would go to my friend David wholeheartedly. The man is insane.
Shout out to David.
Shout out to David. But I am the best Skullgirls player specifically in the group. Mm-hmm. Maybe not anymore, but I was at one point. So when somebody came out, hey, what is this game? So we played Skullgirls at the time. They all turned to me. So I went to the guy and I'm like, look, and we're playing. This is what this game is. This is what we're doing. And he was like, oh, can I play? And I had a choice at that point because I was like, absolutely yes, come play this game. And I was either because this guy not only had never played Skullgirls before, very obviously, but was also clearly not into fighting games in general, didn't have great fundamentals. So I was faced with a choice. I can either completely and utterly destroy this guy or lose on purpose. Those are the two things I can do. You know what I chose to do? I chose to lose on purpose. I didn't make it easy, and the entire time I was talking this guy through how the game mechanics worked. But I let him win, and I would start off by doing really, really basic stuff, and he'd figure that out, and then I'd be like, okay, let me do a couple more advanced stuff. He figured that out, and so I'm essentially subtly trying to teach this guy to play as he's going. This guy, after he beat me, he was talking all high. So, oh yeah, I got you. You're the best in this group. Ha ha ha. And I was like, whatever. I'll look past that. But this guy walked away saying, I'm gonna have to get this game. Thanks for playing with me, and walked off. I will never forget that moment because I made a new Skullgirls fan that day. I single-handedly got another human being into Skullgirls, which is a game that I love and want the community to grow. If I had destroyed this guy, which I was perfectly capable of, he wouldn't have played it anymore. He would have just been like, well, this sucks. I don't want to do this anymore.
That's very true.
That to me, because I meet a lot of people these days, especially, I don't want to call out the competitive Tetris community, but there are some people, stream snipers specifically, who go around looking for my A rank head ass and have triple S rank and will casually ask me, hey, do you want to do some sparring real quick? Oh, sure, why not? And will just utterly destroy me, just on stream, just completely. And when stuff like that happens, I'm like, okay, let me this guy wants to, show off on my stream, whatever. I'll give him a few rounds and then, call it for a while. And they're never rude about it, but, it's rude to do what they're doing. And I vowed a long time ago not to do that, not to be the person who's like, I know that my skill level surpasses this person and I'm going to make them know it. I'm always going to try to build other people up as opposed to bring them down. And the idea that people are out there that are like, yeah, I'm just going to destroy you because I can, that bothers me a lot. That doesn't foster a healthy community,
It takes away from a lot. I think it's one of those things where for example, I casually enjoy Brawlhalla. It has a lot. I think it's a casual, fun game to play with a group of friends, and
Diet Smash.
What? Yeah, Diet Smash. Smash Light.
Smash Light. Yeah. Smash Zero.
Smash Zero. Ah, damn, that was good. But for example, I like playing it, and I don't consider myself a good player, but I definitely do enjoy playing with the homies. And sometimes I'll stream it. And sometimes what I hate the most is when somebody will see the Brawlhalla tag who's a total Chad and is stream sniping okay, oh, they're beginners? Let me let me just go in there real quick and let me show them how it's done. I'm kind of an expert at Brawlhalla, if you know what I'm and it's just what do you get out of that? Do you just I'm gonna be real, if you're really good and you just like to own people, I don't know how really good you are, because you don't want to fight the stronger people. It's one of those. It
makes their PP hard, okay?
It makes their PP feel like it's bigger than 3.
Exactly.
But it just becomes one of those things, going along what you were saying when it comes these S rank people coming to mess with you for being A rank. It's yeah, I'm good, but if you're better than me, why do you want to I'm not to say you're not a challenge, but why do you want to just?
Oh no, I say that I do not pose a challenge to these people. So I'm what do you gain from showing me up on my own stream like that?
You don't really gain anything. You're just, if you really wanted to do this for the love and for betterment of your skills, wouldn't you want to go against somebody who's at your level? I mean, I benefit because I get to see your skill and I get to kind of oh, this is where I fucked up. Okay.
Exactly. Every time that happens, I take notes.
That's how I feel when I play Brawlhalla. I was oh, okay, so you're really into this. Okay, I see how you like to play it. Okay, we're just gonna play like this, and then it kind of goes to the point where Is there? Yeah. Is it even fun? Let me just read some of this chat because a lot of your chat has like a lot of your fans have a lot to say. Zoink Scoob was like he's just a button masher. Reteaches a win is a win. Okay, that's true. XYZ the last said one of the funniest things I've ever seen in comm chat, it was MTG, was I don't mind new players, but I don't want to face them. Who wants to play against players who are worse than them?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying. Which even then, I like some like good friends that I've made in the Tetris community. I'm gonna give a shout out to Niches, who's actually streaming right now.
Shout out to Niches.
Shout out to Niches, who's a French streamer but speaks English as well.
Ooh.
Who originally showed up in my chat bullying me for being bad at Tetris, but we're friends now because he's taken on kind of a mentor role. Like he's not one of those I'm going to show up and destroy this guy. He's been teaching me techniques. He's been helping me to improve, and he's there consistently to, you know, help build me up as opposed to bring me down. And he teases, of course he does. He's one of those people, but I don't mind because he's genuinely a really helpful person. He's a great guy. We do a Turia collab on Sundays when
nice.
I'm able to. But yeah, no, that I think is the correct way to approach somebody who's below your skill level, is to approach them and say, hey, would you like some advice, basically? And I know there are people who don't, but if you're gonna, you know, show up to somebody and be like, oh, you're much worse at this thing than me, help them to get to your level. Don't try to bring them down even further, you know?
Yeah, no, it's like the what is it, the word I'm looking for? It's like if you want to make me a challenge, make me a challenge. Don't just like you know,
exactly.
just fight me because you think it's gonna be an easy victory. And I can understand that mindset to a degree, but it's just one of those things where like you're just doing it for your own like clout. You're doing it for your own like ego. Like if you truly like, it's, you know,
you're
it's
just doing it to like for a momentary feel good. That's it.
Like, would you rather kill like the poisoned lion or the elephant who's healthy? Like,
exactly.
Like, hey man, if I take on the elephant that's healthy and I win or lose, regardless, I took on the elephant.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's like a big.
I fantasize a lot. I've wanted to go to Evo for a long time. It just, when COVID struck, I just wasn't able to because Evo just hasn't been happening and various other reasons. But I've wanted to go to Evo for a long time now, and I have like fantasies about kind of lucking my way up to top 8 of Dragon Ball Fighter Z, and then like accidentally getting matched with Sonic Fox, taking a single round off him, and then getting my my ass destroyed. I'd never take a round off Sonic Fox, right? But I fantasize about not even beating him, just taking a single round. Do you know how much street cred I would get if I came home from Evo and I was like, bitch, I took a round off Sonic Fox. You shut up. But
dude, that's
stuff
big,
like that.
That's big
like,
talk.
Exactly. But I also know that a lot of people in the FGC, I mean, there's the toxic side, obviously, there's always going to be, but I've seen interviews and I've seen these like big pro players play, and Sonic Fox particularly seems like a great guy. I'd love to meet him. I'd love to talk to him.
Sonic Fox is a national hero. National treasure.
He really is, at this point. Yeah, absolutely. And I like have fantasies about, you know, taking exactly one round off the guy just for the street cred, and then not worrying about it at that point. But I'm never going to. I want to stress that's not in the cards for me. Even if I do go to Evo, which Evo is an open tournament, so I definitely want to go someday. But I'm never gonna top 8. I'm never gonna beat Sonic Fox, not even for a single round. But you know, the fantasy's there.
Dude,
and if anything, my fantasy about going to Evo, like what I genuinely want to do, is show up, like lose my first couple rounds, drop out for the rest of it, and then take everybody else who dropped out in the back room and play Shovel Knight Showdown with them.
Shovel Knight Showdown, dude.
That's you want to talk about Diet Smash? Shovel Knight Showdown is like spicy
familiar.
Smash.
Interesting. But what I was gonna say is,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh my god, I was gonna say something very powerful. Here it is. I have a friend by the name of Mitsuki the Wizard. She's a former guest on the show. Her and her clan, her lovelies, her stars, they play Dragon Ball Fighters, and you know, one of these days maybe you should you know, get in contact and, you know, link up with them, because I know they just got into it and they've been really like grinding all together as like a whole Discord group of like learning the game. I've never had the luxury of playing Dragon Ball Fighters. Oh, I've played Fighter Z, but I've never like played it to like learn it. I've kind of just, you know, my friends were like, oh, we're playing the game, do you want to jump in? I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but fuck it, let me just play. I'm a Xenoverse guy. I played Xenoverse a lot. That was
Fair.
fun-ish.
Honestly, the only reason I took to Fighter Z so well is because it's the same style as it's that MVC style, Skullgirls, Marvel vs. Capcom, that like 3v3 snappy style, and Dragon Ball Fighter Z. While it's not the best of that, that would be Skullgirls.
It has the elements.
Still a very
Yeah.
same principle. You can transfer the skills.
I like that. I do like that kind of style of fighter, like that kind of like Guilty Gear fighter, kind of like where it's like swapping out because Blaze Blue. It becomes more strategy prior than just be like, let me use my best techniques. It's like, let me get them in a spot where I can be able to jump in, jump out, tag this person in. He's able to do like it becomes like a bigger like 4D chess game instead of being just simple back and forth. And I think that's what I genuinely enjoy about like those style of fighting games. Prior to I guess 3D fighting games where it's just you got the Z axis, so you gotta be able to like maneuver around that.
There's a Tekken joke in this conversation.
There is very much a Tekken joke. I was just waiting for someone to pick that one up. I was like, yeah, I'm definitely poking some shots at Tekken. I have no
I have a lot of respect for Street Fighter specifically because when you think of fighting, it's not my personal favorite, and I'm not like super into it, but I have a lot of respect for it because when you think fighting games, you think Street Fighter. Like that is the fighting game that kind of is the trendsetter for all the others. It defines them really.
Exactly.
But I'm definitely but it's a lot not clunkier is the wrong word. It's a lot slower and a lot more neutral. I'm very much a fan of the like turn-taking 50-50 style of MVC and the way they do it. But mad respect to, Street Fighter and Tekken as well. I know we're just making fun of Tekken, but big fan of that one as well, just because there's a lot. As ridiculous as the move lists in that game get, there's still a lot of lot of good to be had in that experience, even if the Z-axis is, hurts my little 2D brain. So.
No, I will say this because I think like when it comes to fighting games, there's a lot of like to take away. Like you either got like the party fighting games, like like the Brawlhallas, the Smashes, and stuff like that. You got the like that 2D style, like the Blaze Blues and the Skullgirls, or you got the 3Ds kind of like or like the single combat 3Ds with like the special move sets and all that, like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. I think each of them have their own I would argue they have their own hiccups. Some characters are more fluid than others, or some characters are a little bit more stiffer, and like it's always hard to find a balance. And I think that's why I always enjoy like updates and like when you're like, oh, this character is way too strong. Okay, well let's nerf them a bit. Let's fix them a bit. And I think that's why I genuinely love like the new fighting game styles. Like, okay, how do you guys like this new character? He's too OP. Okay, well, let's give us a minute to figure out what we're gonna do with him.
Yeah.
You would probably destroy me in Tekken. My favorite character in Tekken is Bob. Dude, Bob is so badass. Like for like a big, like I've always been like a chubby dude, and like being a big guy, like if I was ever as fluid and as like as smooth and as flowing as the river as Bob was, because he can lose weight. I think that's a thing, right? He has a character model where he's like slimmed out.
I think so, yeah. Bob was inspiration to us all.
Yeah, he is. He was actually for Anime Expo before COVID hit. I was gonna be Bob, our fat gum from My Hero. Like it was gonna be a fucking vibe.
I'll never forget that we were browsing through costumes one day on Tekken 7, and somebody got Bob in like the white shirt with the red tie and like the brown slacks, and he was SpongeBob. Yellow hair.
I know exactly what costume you're talking about. I know exactly.
It did the rounds online a while back, but that was the best. I'm a Lucky Chloe main though, so
So was my
get fucked.
So was my my cousin Jonathan. Like we all love fighting games a lot, but he is what I call like the true gamer. Like when it comes to Halo and all this, like he's taken like dubs like it's fucking Tic Tacs. Like he just pops them in. So like when we play Tekken, or sometimes where I'm getting really close to beating him, and like if I take he'll look at me and goes, you know what? I like how you noticed my fighting style. And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, you notice how I have a certain rhythm of fighting. I was like, I kind of picked it up. He goes, I saw that. That's why I had to change it last minute. And I was like, gee, I had him on red, and next thing you know, I'm defeated. I was like, Jesus Christ, fighting games are so tough.
That's why I like them though, because you learn your opponent, but your opponent also learns that you learned them, but then you learn that they learned that you learned them, and then they learn that, and it keeps going. It's a dance, really. I think it's fascinating.
It's I think in a psychological level, it is so fucking amusing.
Mm-hmm.
It is so amusing because you're like, it's kind of like an actual fight. Like, it's like I think I like to watch like a lot of martial arts movies and a lot of martial artists giving their take on like choreographied scenes that are full of choreography, and they'll say like, oh, and you know how dangerous that is in an actual martial arts fight, or they'll say something like, you have no idea how in an actual martial arts fight, like once you do a certain move, like you can never do it again. Like they have already adapted to your style, they've already adapted to your rhythm. You need to change it up a style because they now have adapted to that, and it's just like, that is so interesting. That is so fucking cool. That like you really like, you never understand like how badass humans are, and I say humans in general. Like they really can adapt to such interesting things, and it's so scary. Like our brains are literally supercomputers if we really just allowed like that focus to be there.
Pretty much. You know, I'm not into mobile games, but my friends did get me in. Feel free
Raid
to
Shadow Legends. I just kidding.
Don't you dare! Don't you dare! Much older and possibly lamer actually, but my friends got me into Clash Royale a while back, and
Ooh.
I will freely admit I'm still stuck to it. I just can't put it down. I have a problem. Send help. But that was something that I always liked about Clash. Do you know how Clash Royale works?
Clash Royale it's more of like a tap game, right, or something?
It's a card game. Think like halfway between Auto Chess and Hearthstone. But,
okay.
Yeah, but it was something that I always liked because your deck only is 8 cards, and it's a predetermined order each time. Well, it's shuffled, but it's in the same order each time. And the way that you have to play it, I won't go into too much detail because I don't want to just talk about Clash Royale the whole time. But the back and forth between the players there, because once you see your opponent's card order, you now know what it is, and they now know what yours is. So whatever counters you both have, you have to go like. It's weird. It's all about timing in that game, all about knowing what counters what and when to play it. And I have genuinely in the past described Clash Royale as a dance between two people because the game is relatively slow, so you have time to think of what you're going to do, and each time you do something, your opponent's going to adapt to it, and then you're going to adapt to your opponent and vice versa. So you're constantly trading back and forth ideas almost like I don't know. It's weird. I'm not sure how I would really put it. But in my experience at like high level Clash Royale, it's a dance between both players because they're constantly changing in subtle ways the way they're doing things. They'll change their positioning. They'll change what order they play things in. Things like that. It's something that I've always found fascinating, just regarding the whole back and forth psychological aspect. You adapt to your opponent's play style, who then adapts to you, and vice versa.
It's very chess. I think that that's like the root of it is it becomes so strategic. It's so beautiful.
At the end of the day, every video game is just, a mod of chess.
It really is, and I think that's like a lot of people don't understand. It's like chess is like such. It's a very of course chess is turn based, but no matter how you modify the game or you change it up or add characters, everything essentially goes back to that.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. Top level players and micro adjustments. Oh my god, you definitely know. But like I have one question for you when it comes to like everything we're doing. I really was interested in this when we talked presently. You said your end goal is not just to stay as a VTuber, but of course eventually make a board game. And I want to know, like, I want to know about this. I really want to know. Like, I feel like it's such a general thing to like go into, but I think we have enough time to like get on this before we like slowly like reach to the end. But you were so passionate about this. I needed to know because I've never known what it takes to make a board game. I've heard people say they want to make their own card-based games. I've heard video games, of course. I've heard people who just wanted to make a simple like drinking game, but a board game is so elaborate, it's so strong, and it's honestly just something that a lot of people take for granted. I want to hear like what pressed you to be person who wants to make a board game?
Well, strap in.
I'm ready.
I'll
I'm
try
here.
I'll try to sum this up. Chapter 1, game design theory. So, no, I'll try to sum up as best I can, but to try to attack this question from the beginning and moving forward, I, as a young child, have always been into video games, and so naturally I wanted to get into video game development as an adult. Didn't end up working out for a variety of reasons, but throughout my entire life, combined with the whole I genuinely believe my purpose is to entertain people and, provide things for people to do, that has shaped a lot of my life, even if I didn't realize it at the time, combined with I want to make video games, so I'm getting into, not just... So there's difference between game design and game design theory, because game design is actually putting the pieces together. It's this mechanic fits in this way, the coding the main game loop, making assets, putting things together, building, a story if it's an RPG, building, combat mechanics, things like that. That's all game design. Game design theory is something that I talk with a friend of mine a lot about, who I call my design partner. And it's a more abstract concept regarding user experience. So this can apply to board games, video games, card games, whatever, but it's this idea of thinking about mechanics not in a practical sense, but in a how would someone theoretically interact with this sense? Do I have a good example? I actually do. So a first-person shooter.
Okay.
That design-wise is you have your guns, you have your character models, you have your maps. In fact, design-wise, maps are a big one. Maps and guns. Those are the two big principles in an FPS, I think. I think everything else, and movement mechanics. Reteach probably knows more about this than I do. But that's actual design. Game design theory is the concept of putting the camera behind the eyes of the player. It's like, how many weapons is somebody going to be able to hold at a time, and what is the weapons I'm sorry, here's a good example. Call of Duty versus Team Fortress 2, right?
Yeah.
They're both first-person shooters.
Yes.
They're both fundamentally similar games in the sense that you have a character, you have guns, you have a loadout, and you run around and complete objectives, right? That's all game design. The reason they feel so different is the theory aspect. Call of Duty gives you two weapons and a dedicated melee button. Team Fortress 2 gives you two weapons and a third melee weapon. That is already a huge gameplay difference, because having to equip your melee weapon fundamentally changes the way the game is played.
I see.
Even then, Call of Duty has a lot more freedom of classes. You can have whatever combination of weapons you want. Team Fortress 2 has 9 predefined classes, each with predefined loadouts. There's customization there, obviously. That, again, fundamentally changes the way the game works. So it's stuff like that. The little, what I call the fiddly bits, the details that are more... It's stuff that people don't really think about a lot, I think. And it's the fundamental reason that video games... The reason that Doom is different from Wolfenstein, for example. Those are extremely similar games, but they feel different because of their fundamental design differences.
So if
and
I
also,
I don't mean to cut you off, but so if I may, just see if I have the actual understanding of it. Design is just the way the way the game plays, but theory is the reason why the players playing the game and what they find appealing, in the sense it's looking beyond the fourth wall. It's breaking the fourth wall and looking into the player's eyes. Why does he like this game over this? Well, he likes the way the person runs in this. He likes the person's loadout better. He likes the range of guns. He likes just the overall appeal of it. Is that where I'm getting the idea of theory versus design is at? Basically, yeah. I don't think I'm explaining it very well. No. I think I just wanted to help, just in case anyone is having trouble, because I'm following. I think I'm following decently well. I just wanted to put it in a different aspect, so that way people who are not following well can have okay, and now I see where they're coming from. An even better example, I think, is something like Smash versus Street Fighter, because you can call them both fighting games, but they have a lot of fundamental theory differences. The biggest one, of course, being in Smash, your damage goes up. In Street Fighter, your health goes down. That already, because these are both fundamentally fighting games. You have a combo system, you have move lists to memorize, you have character matchups to learn, you have map awareness potentially. I mean, not in Street Fighter, which is another theory thing, but
even then, the fundamental idea that in Smash your damage goes up and in Street Fighter your health goes down changes on a base level the way the game works. Smash can't implement a traditional KO system because damage goes up. So what's their workaround? Won't get knocked off the stage. The higher your damage, the farther you get knocked. Fair enough. Street Fighter doesn't need to worry about that because they have a dedicated amount of health for each character. So once that hits 0, you lose. And stuff like that. More high concept stuff, because once you make those decisions, then you can get into, okay, what characters do we have? What do our maps look like? What are the move lists for these things? What does our combo system look like? Those are more prop design things. This applies to board games in a lot of ways too. Oh, there's one other thing that I was going to mention is I just had a thought and it's gone. What was I just thinking of?
I've been there.
It was literally on the tip of my tongue, and then I said I was going to say it and it's gone. Wow, that's crazy. Anyways, sorry about that. I had a thought, died, as my grandmother says, had a thought, died of loneliness.
Oof. Jesus. Dang. I like what Teach says. Teach says Call of Duty versus Halo or Battlefield is another easy way to explain theory versus design, which
exactly.
I can totally agree. I think, and essentially like Call of Duty and Halo, in I guess bones would technically be the same kind of game, but they play so differently. I would argue, like, it's really hard to compare both of them other than saying they're first person shooters. Yes, they fall under that umbrella, but they play so differently. It's almost like you're playing a whole different type of, I guess that's where the subcategories come in now for like the genre in which you would make the game for now.
I mean, hell, the big, like, to get really pretentious about it, it's the fundamental reason that Portal and Portal 2, literally a sequel to the other, feels so different, is because there are little tiny theory things. One example you may have never noticed, in the first Portal game, your crosshair lights up if you're over a portal surface and isn't lit up if you can't, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the second game, it doesn't do that. Your crosshair instead denotes which portals you have active. The blue one lights up if the blue one's out, and the orange one lights up if the orange one's out. It's not much. It's a very small change, but that, again, fundamentally changes how the user experiences that game. You've changed the information you're giving them. That's a theory thing.
I can see that. I think it's kind of like to bring it back.
But it's such a subtle difference that no one would care about or notice, but it still changes it changes their experience. It changes the way that they feel.
It's kind of like I guess to put it in a bigger example would be the difference between Jak and Jak 2. You ever played Jak and Dexter?
I have not, but I've heard a lot of good things about them.
Jak 1 very much is a platforming action-based game where it's very much it's kind of like Crash Bandicoot, where you grow across worlds, you do certain things, you get certain items, compared to Jak 2 where it becomes in itself like a sort of GTA light version of the game that we knew before. The sequel in itself feels way different, and it is no longer a platforming based game. It is now a GTA light game that happens to have platforming, and it's such a dramatic change that now, like, the whole, not only has the rating of the game changed, but the main character's I guess stoicism has changed. It becomes a more edgier game, and it becomes almost unrecognizable, but it's done in such a way, and I would have to talk to more people who do design theory, that the reason why it's because I'm assuming design theory has elements of marketing in it for a reason. Like, there's a lot of marketing ideology to be in this. So I would love to sit down with somebody who has that affinity in it, to just explain to me, yes, this is why this is happening, this is why they do that. Because it's from what you're saying, I'm getting what you're putting down, where it's like these things are small enough to almost be unrecognizable to the naked eye, but in a esteemed developer who notices this goes, I see why they did that. They've really changed a lot from this for one certain reason, and only like a few good people would ever pick that up and understand exactly why they did that. And it's kind of like when cinematographers watch movies, they go, I know why the director did this, or I know why the effects specialist did that. And I think that is such a fucking treasure to be able to do, to be able to like notice those small things and understand how they play such a big role in the overall development of it.
I'll give you my favorite example, right?
Okay.
I still am. I love what these guys did. Have you heard of a little indie game called Webbed? Came out a while back. Webbed. It's a game where you play as a little spider, and the whole premise is your boyfriend gets kidnapped by a bird, and you, as this little spider, have to roam around this big world, solving puzzles, helping insects, and going to get your boyfriend back, right?
Okay.
The point of the game is to spin webs to traverse obstacles. And it has this very robust web spinning feature where you can connect 2 points together with a web and then connect that web to other points in the world and literally spin webs and then walk around on them because you're a spider. Absolutely adorable, fascinating game. It was actually the first game I ever streamed in full, and I didn't have my recordings enabled, so the footage is lost to time, sadly.
Damn.
But you can also take down your webs. And it's a little 2D platformer, and you use your mouse to aim where you're spinning the web. So how would you think that they would add in an ability to take down your webs? And I'm like, how would you do that in a like elegant and reasonable way? There isn't really a way to do that without making it a little awkward, because you've only got 2 buttons, both of which are already used for different functions on the mouse. So like, how would you do that? They bound the E key to shoot lasers out of your eyes.
Oh, wow.
I'm not joking. In this game, you are a little spider that shoots lasers out of their eyes. And I think about this a lot because it's a silly concept. It's very funny to watch happen. But the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, that is genius. That's actually such an elegant solution to a difficult problem. Because when you shoot one of your webs with the laser, it deletes it. So I'm like, and also the laser has oomph to it. So because it's a physics-based puzzle game, you can also use it to push things around. So I'm like, all at once, by adding this one mechanic, these devs have added a lot more depth to the physics-based puzzle elements and solved a difficult problem, that being, how do we remove webs one strand at a time so that you can build webs to customize? And because there's some finicky puzzles in this game that involve very strategic web placing. So if you make one wrong, you've got to delete it.
I see. And
that mechanic, I love that mechanic so much because it's silly. It's just spider shooting lasers out of its eyes. But when you look at it from a gameplay perspective, from a game design theory perspective, it makes so much sense to be there because it solves a major problem, opens up a lot of design space, and design space is another. That's what I was going to say, is design space is a concept we'll come back to, and also adds another element to your physics puzzles. And it was so crazy to me just because it's a spider that shoots lasers out of its eyes. And that works so well. That's my favorite example of this whole concept, is adding that mechanic is such a dumb idea when you think of it on paper, but then you actually play it and you're like, oh, it makes so much sense for this to be there. You know?
Yeah, no, I definitely see that. Like, it's ridiculous in just like overall thinking, oh, spider shooting laser, but in a developing standpoint, a mechanic standpoint, it's ingenious because it fixes a small problem that what a lot of developers would probably run into, is how do we get rid of the webs? And you do it in such a outrageous way that you kind of like, it becomes so outrageous, it's enjoyable, and that's where the theory kicks in, is like, and for mechanic design wise, you fixed a big problem. And in theory wise, what you've done is you've allowed it to be ridiculous enough and enjoyable enough that it is smooth. And it does not hiccup the player's enjoyment whatsoever. In fact, it argues that it actually increases it. So now you've not only fixed a problem, but you fixed a problem, a gaming problem, and made it enjoyable. Now you killed two birds with one stone.
Plus, rubbing into the marketing aspect, you've immediately stood out because your protagonist is a spider. It's now that game with the spider that shoots lasers out of its eyes.
It's indistinguishable now, or it's distinguishable now. I don't know what the correct phrase I'm looking for is, but it stands out now.
Yeah, definitely. And that's always going to be my favorite example because, oh my god, that's such a good idea. Yeah. Like, I wish I was that smart.
And this all ties back to what you're saying when it comes to developing of like theory in gaming, is like, for your love of video gaming and your love of like understanding developing and the theory of developing, you've taken that same mindset into the board game the board game market.
I mean, it's the exact same principle. It's thinking about what experience do I want my players to have, and what kind of mechanics do I want to add to give them a certain experience. Because at the end of the day, all games, be they digital or physical, are an arbitrary set of rules that you set up and all agree to. That's like getting weirdly philosophical at that point, but that's what a game is by definition.
I would argue a game is an illusion of what we have in reality.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Squid Games.
Yeah, a little bit. But yeah, that's something that I think about a lot. Is like, I have ideas for a board game where there's a rogue AI that is dealing with a bunch of survivors, and I'm like, how would I do that in board game form? I have ideas for one player on one side, battleship style, with like a screen, and then the other like 4 or 5 players on the other side with their board, and doing it that way. I've had ideas for like a board that will flip up and close. I've had a couple different ideas to try to make that work, and I like the challenge of trying to make that work. This is very obviously should be a video game and not a board game, but I like the challenge of making it work in a physical space.
Yeah.
Even then, you think of the fundamental differences between Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Does not have a resource system. Magic the Gathering does. Yu-Gi-Oh! Just has rules for you play this set number of things a turn, and special summoning circumvents that. Meanwhile, Magic the Gathering says, no, you pay for things explicitly with land cards. Even other games, Shadow Era is one that came out. It was a digital one. You have to burn cards in your hand in order to gain the resources to play more. Hearthstone, you automatically gain 1 each turn to a max of 10. All that, the ability to play cards, that fundamental pricing system is what makes those games different. People have compared Magic the Gathering and Hearthstone so much to the point where it's irritating to hear, but that fundamental resource difference is what makes those games distinct, at least in my opinion.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, yeah. But it makes them feel so much different, because, in fact, I know that you're a Yu-Gi-Oh! Person, so I'm not going to dwell on this too much, but my biggest criticism of Yu-Gi-Oh!
I know it's coming.
is its lack of a resource.
Yeah.
Because the fact that you can, and don't get me wrong, I like vintage Magic the Gathering. I'm a fan of, it's turn 1, put 7 cards on the table, go, I win next turn. I'm a fan of that. But Yu-Gi-Oh's, the fact that you can just do all that for free, like, it bothers me.
I fully agree. And this is me coming as a Yu-Gi-Oh fan, is I feel like Yu-Gi-Oh's tried to balance out the because I think everyone's biggest problem when it comes to not only the resource aspect of it, is the aspect of, so in one turn, not only have you flooded the field, but you've chained it to a point where it's almost continuous, and you've blocked me from playing, and you've won the game by blocking me from being able to play. And I think that's what a lot of people's big thing is, and I think that's why Yu-Gi-Oh's constantly trying to learn how to, they keep making up a new summoning set over and over again, and it's honestly just become, for lack of a better word, it's not worked well. And it still doesn't work well. And I think that's what everyone's big problem with Yu-Gi-Oh! Is currently, is I'm tired of not being able to play. I want to be able to play the fucking card game if you would fucking let me, but you don't let me. And I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Needs to have a soft reboot, or they need to have like a reset, because they've added so many different ways of summoning that no matter how they fix it, it's not so much of you can make a new way of summoning that's going to fix it overall. It's maybe you should start again from the bones up, reconstruct it, and fix it that way instead of adding new coats on. But hey, that's just me. I'm just coming from a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, we
should all just get into Card Fight Vanguard. Fuck these other games,
dude. Card Heart Vanguard's dope. I know what game I actually genuinely liked, because I watched the show as a kid. I actually genuinely liked Chaotic, bro. I played a little Chaotic, and Chaotic was an interesting one. It had potential.
I'm not gonna lie, I've never even heard of it.
Oh my god, it's a decent card game. I would look it up. Chaotic it has potential. If it had enough attention and enough people put enough love into it, it honestly could have been really it could be one of the goats.
I'll have to look into that. You should send it to me.
I will definitely.
Because I'll
I mean, it's pretty simple. There's only I think 5 races, so like it doesn't get overly conglomerated with, okay, so this race beats that race. It's just like, no, there's 5 races. They all have certain things. I don't know. I'll send you because
I got you.
I could go all day. Best card game is Uno. The
best card game is Uno.
The simplicity of
Uno.
You
shut up. You sit down. I'm out of here. Where's the
I will
bar?
say this. The simplicity of Uno is the reason why it's so popular, and it's the reason why it's so competitive. It's the idea of
It's
less is
also
more.
100% luck based.
It really is. It's all RNG. And
You might as well be playing Candyland at that point.
oh my lord. But it shoots and ladders.
Shoots and ladders, yeah, there you go.
But Uno is perfect RNG because it's so random based, because it's so luck based. You may it takes a while to win, but you can definitely make sure somebody loses. And I think that's where the fun of Uno is. It's like, it's not about who wins, it's about who fucks the other person over.
You know, it's funny. This ties into what I was about to say about a concept called design space.
Mm-hmm.
So, Uno, we all know how to play Uno. I mean,
Yes.
no one actually knows how to play Uno, but we all know how to play Uno. Right?
The game tells us how we play, but we have our own rules. Yeah.
Basically, yeah. There is another game on the market that my parents got a while back that I don't think they liked, but I absolutely loved. It was called Dose. And
Dose.
I know that sounds weird, but it was Uno, but with, I think, a couple extra cards and a couple extra rules.
Mm.
And it was, to me, it was Uno, but strategic. Like, there were actual, like, it was Uno. It was, you could immediately recognize it as this is Uno, but those extra rules it added gave the players actual choices and added an element of strategy to it where you could foreseeably outplay an opponent beyond playing a draw 4 on them. I liked it a lot. I thought it was really fascinating because as I was learning the game, as I was putting the pieces together and realizing, wait, you mean I actually have a choice here? Like, I have decisions I can make and things that can... I want to play it again. I should look into getting a copy of that, maybe on TTS, and inviting people to come play it. But it was interesting to me to watch. This is what Uno could be if it had strategy to it. I thought that was really interesting. And it's funny because that ties into the concept of design space in that... How do I describe this? I think my design partner put it better, but design space is what you have to work with without making new things.
Ooh.
The example of Uno is you've got 4 colors, several numbers, and the various effect cards, right? As well as 2 black cards. That's Uno's design space, is it has 4 colors, numbers, and symbols. So within that design space, to add things to Uno, to create more of that game, you can make new, what's it called? Special symbols, for example.
Yeah.
Like cards that, let you trade hands with people, like new symbols. Like there's the reverse, there's the skip, there's those things. So you can add more of them. Like there's one card that makes you switch seats with somebody else. There's one card that makes you, I don't know, burp 3 times and do the hula. I don't know. It's like, that's Uno's design space. You could even add another color potentially. You could add symbols beyond numbers. You can add, I think Crazy Eights has a couple different mechanics they could borrow from. Add a draw 3 instead of a draw 2, things like that. These are all things you can do within the design space without adding more mechanics, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you're not complicating the recipe, but am I doing it right? Yeah, you're not adding to the recipe, but within the guidelines of like what you have, you're making something else. So like you have like a list. Okay, there you go. You have a list of items. Instead of making one item of food, you're making another thing out of that very item. So you can instead of making a cheeseburger, you're making a fucking I don't know, ground beef tacos or something. But you used what you had and you've done something different with the same ingredients.
You know what's funny? Personally, I think that's backwards. I think it's using different ingredients to make the same thing. Like a cheeseburger, for example. You can have a cheeseburger as just meat and cheese. Or you can add ketchup to it. Or you can swap out the patty for fried mushrooms, which I know sounds heathen, but that's good.
I don't know. That sounds kind of delicious.
Or you can like add the works. You can do a patty with, lettuce, tomato, onions, ketchup, mustard, all of that. Or you can have that, but with no onions. Or you can have a burger that's a patty and loaded with pickles. I don't know, stuff like that. At the end of the day, it's all a burger because that's what you're designing is a burger.
Mm-hmm.
But within that design space, you've got all the burger type ingredients. You're going to have a patty, potentially more, but it's going to be made out of something, meat or meat-like product. You've got your additives being various vegetables, potentially. You can pick and choose what you want. That's the design space, the Taco Bell philosophy.
With
also,
food.
yes, Uno Flip is... I'm sorry, I'm hungry, can you tell?
I'm hungry too, don't worry.
Uno Flip is the perfect example of that. Uno Flip is an interesting idea because one could argue that they did add new mechanics to it. They added more rules to it. The fact that the cards now have backs, assuming we're talking about the same thing, but adding to the fact that the cards have backs, I think that introduces more design space as opposed to working within it. Which is funny. Side tangent, by the way. This is why I love the standard 52 card deck of playing cards. I love it to pieces. I think it's a fantastic tool because one standard deck of 52 cards has so much design space in it.
Oh, yeah.
Each card is unique. So you've got 52 individual cards. You've got 2 colors, 4 suits, 13 numbers, 3 face cards of each suit. There's so much to work with in a standard deck of playing cards to the point where you can make, I mean, there's a reason that there are shit tons of card games that just use that because there's so much to work with. Like, there's a reason that poker plays so much different from Go Fish, plays so much different from
Old Maid,
fucking Crazy Eights to Old Maid to Spades to Hearts to everything. Like a standard deck of playing cards, there's limitless potential in there because of the way it's designed, but it's also immediately so simple and so elegantly put together that it's not overwhelming. Like, in a lot of ways, a deck of playing cards doesn't look like it has 52 unique cards in it, but it does.
It does.
You know? It doesn't feel like it does, but it does. And having 52 individual items, and even then, within that design space, the orientation of a card matters. It's got a front and a back. It's rectangular, so you can have it forward, like horizontal or vertical. Like, there's so much to it. Like, I'm sorry, I'm geeking out a little bit. No, I'm total nerd for saying.
I think it's funny. I think we're on some wavelength shit because I was just thinking. I was like, it's crazy when you talk about design space because what first came into my head was playing cards, just the classic deck of cards. Because it's like that is a perfect example where it's a simple. It's just it has a structure, but there are so many different games that are made out of that just simple mechanic of just 4 suits, 52 cards, 2 different colors. There's so many different mechanics there's so many different games you can make out of a simple mechanic. It just fucking blows up because you really start thinking about it. Like, damn, poker is a card game. Blackjack is a card game. Baccarat is a card game. Like, there's so many different rules, and they have the subcategories of the way you play it and etc. But that just goes off of what you've been saying already, is that it's the design space for a simple deck of cards is almost limitless at that point.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. It's, to put it in video game terms, I would argue that a deck of playing cards is the closest thing you can get to a physical game engine. Like,
technically, yes.
It is, yeah. Like, so all that is, this is all like game design stuff that I think about a lot. This is something that I'm really passionate about and fascinated by, and is something that because it's a massive puzzle to me. It's something to unravel. How can I take all of this knowledge, all of these mechanics, how can I craft a unique experience out of this? And that's where I've finished exactly one project, and that's where PowerCell came from, which if anybody's heard of PowerCell, that's something that I have. I still link to it periodically, and it's freely available. You just need the rules and a handout, which I have available anywhere. But PowerCell is a card game that I made that uses a standard 52 deck of playing cards, and that's it. And I'm not going to compliment myself this way, but I have compared it to chess if you roll dice to move your pieces. There's enough RNG, because it's a deck of cards, that, that's worth considering, but it is a very, very deep, complex strategy game that requires you to... I've had people think for minutes on end about their moves testing this game, and I consider that a major win. I've had people argue over what cards and what strategies are most powerful, and to me, if you've got people arguing over what's most powerful, you've done a good job as far as game design goes. That's a personal metric for me, because, yeah. But
so I would argue that's kind of overall like what you're going for at the end of the day is like as this content. I'm gonna call you content creator because I don't want to say calling you VTuber like is puts enough
VTuber
credit.
Works too.
It works, but I feel like it doesn't capitalize everything that you are. And as a huge content creator, like of way different mediums, I think you captivate in so many areas that I'm excited to see what you do next. And I know we're almost at 2 hours, and I'm kind of hungry. You're kind of hungry, and we've been having this fun conversation, and it's definitely a joy, and I definitely would like it to keep going and going. But overall, this is the end goal. I don't want to say end goal. I don't want to put a ceiling on us, but overall, you are going to be a game developer, a streamer, a different many ways. Is your legacy going to be somebody playing a video game randomly on, let's say 20 years from now, your game is converted, board game wise, is converted into, of course, Uno's converted into the computer. They incorporate this into Steam or something, and you see a new streamer playing this and just geeking out on why they love this game. Is that where and that's why I did it?
Let me put it this way. I have felt for the longest time, as I've gotten to know myself better, and as I started to realize what my own goals were, I know that I want to be a written by. That's my life goal, is not even to have something successful. Of course, I want to see somebody take something I made and enjoy it. That's the world's best feeling. But I just want to put something out there that has my name, not even as the sole creator, just as a written by, as a created by, as a concept by even. I want my name out there on something. And not even for people to notice. I don't even care if people know that it's me. I'm going under my pen name. I'm going under Hedron Fairy because I don't care about having my real name on there. I don't need credit necessarily. What I want is to put something out there for people to enjoy. Honestly, if I could, if money was no object, I would make these things and put them out for free. But as it stands, I'm hoping to make a living from it, so I'm going to have to charge for some of the physical stuff I'm making. But yeah, that's ultimately, I guess you could say, the end goal is not just board game design. Obviously, game design is something I have a lot of passion for, and I've put a lot of thought into this theory stuff, so that's definitely the goal. But I have ideas for books that I want to write someday, for webcomics that I want to pitch to people, for animated series to someday get made once I have, funds and a following and clout to do so. Obviously these are all grand, big visions, and I have to start small, which is where this whole VTubing thing is coming. This is my starting small. And I want to take it step by step to move towards these much bigger ideas, and I want to meet people and network and learn. I want to meet people with actual skills. I already have multiple different artists working on my current board game project, which, if it's okay, I'd like to pitch once I'm done with this spiel.
Oh, dude, perfect. I definitely want to hear this pitch.
But I've been working with artists because I can't draw worse shit. I know that.
Same.
And I don't want to sit down and, teach myself, spend the next 2 years of my life learning to draw. I don't have time for that. I've got bigger fish to fry. I've got Subnautica to play for the 6th time. But so I'm working with other people, and I really wish money was no object, because it'd be nice to just ask these people to work, but I have to compensate them because that's how it works. And obviously they're extremely talented, so I want to anyways. I want to help them out. But they're doing something that I can't do, and I wouldn't have met these people unless I had started putting out content and meeting people and doing all this stuff. I'm really excited to keep working with the artists that I'm working with, and I want to meet others with other skills too. I want to find a programmer and graphic designer and 3D modeler to potentially make a video game someday. I want to find an editor to help me, and potentially a life coach maybe to keep me on a writing schedule to write a book someday. I have all of these ideas, all of which are just in the preliminary stages right now, but I'm trying my best to start small, keep myself grounded, and say, do what you can do right now. And what I can do right now is what you're seeing. Oof. And honestly, this is making people happy as near as I can tell, and that's what matters to me. This is the most fulfilled I've ever been, and I promise you this is just the beginning.
Hedron Musk. I totally agree. Definitely.
Hedron Musk.
I will say this. I'm gonna say this before we end it, and you can pitch everything after this. You have such a focus and such a drive. You have such a type A personality that and I say this with genuine respect and all love, that I don't ever see you not succeeding in making something that's enjoyable for a lot of people. You have such a devotion, such a dedication, and you are going in a way that it's almost impossible not to believe that it's impossible almost to say that you won't succeed. I'm not going to say anything like that because I don't want to, jinx or anything, knock on wood, but you have such a drive that it's almost impossible not to believe in you. Like, you have it so mapped out. You have it so, I wouldn't say prepped for, like, it's going to obviously work out to the best degree, but you have such conviction in the way you have it set up that it's more likely that you will succeed than fail. I feel like that's a fair point to say. And hearing it's very infectious. Yes, it's infectious. Like, I don't believe that was real wood. That's real wood, baby.
Here, my desk is wood.
Mine is too. I have a wood dresser. But exactly what I'm saying is I cannot double negative here. I cannot not believe that you won't succeed. Like, because you have such it's such a thought out process that you have for everything you have that you want to do, that it's, again, you said it's all in preliminary stages. I'd argue a lot of people don't have the fortitude or the focus to even get it in the preliminary stages, and here you are putting out paying your artist, doing what you have to do to get these things ready. And a lot of people would just be like, oh, I'll put it off when I can. And you've said, no, I need to get this off the boat as much as possible. My brain won't allow me to just sit and wait. I need to get it going ASAP Rocky. And I genuinely have to say, as a person looking in, like, from how you've described this, how you've convinced me, it's almost like you're a cult leader. It's your personality so infectious that I genuinely believe that this is going to be a thing. And I don't doubt in a couple of years from now that you will be like, hey, the board game is released. I want people to play it, tell me what you guys think. And I don't doubt I will definitely enjoy it to the highest degree, because you've put so much of your own energy, your own theory, not, I want to say theory, but your own mind into it, and your own not just personality, but like your energy. That
also, a couple of years, nothing. My goal is to have this board game published by the end of this year.
Oh, there you go. See,
because it's 95% done. Like, I swear, it's basically done.
I want beta. I want to play beta. Just saying.
It's on Tabletop Simulator.
Simulator? You gotta send me the link.
It's literally uploaded there. Like, I'll hell, this week or next week, why not? I'll go ahead and do a it's up to 8 players, so
ooh.
If anyone's interested, could do that.
I definitely want to see what this is. Oh my god. But just to cap off what I'm saying, Simples, I don't doubt Hedron is going to be where he wants to be. I don't doubt that. And I've been convinced. Simple. And I don't even think you even try to convince me. I think you just simply laid out your plan. And if I was like, if you were telling me this is you went to a bank and you're asking for a loan, fuck, dude, I would just give you the money, because you have it so well thought out. I'm like, it kind of seems impossible to fail. So let me just write the check there, here and there. But that's all.
Honestly, my biggest frustration is, like, as I'm not trying to be entitled, I'm really not, but goddamn, do I wish I had the time of the day that I spend working. Like, if I just had, I devote so much of my life to going out there just to maintain my life and earn a paycheck that, like, again, I'm not trying to be entitled, I'm not trying to coerce anything out of everybody, but goddamn, do I fantasize about doing this full time, because that would give me so much more time to, like, make this stuff a reality. I don't know.
I don't mean to, like, pursue too much. I was like, have you ever thought about making, like, a GoFundMe for it, or do you have currently a GoFundMe for, like, the?
I have a Patreon.
Oh, perfect. There you go. Like, a Patreon for, like, the funding of this board game, so that way people can see it. I would argue also do a GoFundMe as well, because a lot of people would, especially since it's 95% done. I guarantee a lot of people would put money just to be like, okay, well, if it's 95% done, and you could already kind of, like, play the, like, I'm guessing it's the alpha or the beta of the.
I would say it's early beta.
Early beta of it, like,
yeah.
people can enjoy that concept and kind of get a feel for it and go like, you know what, I like this a lot. Let me just like what here's like $5 or here's like $10 or here's $20. That goes a long ways.
That's something I've wanted to do. Definitely is hire a team to help me, get the balancing right. And once that's done, that's done. I just need to pay for the art assets and balance the thing, and then it's done. That's the only thing on the docket.
Beautiful. But here's the section. Plug yourself. Let them know how to get in contact with you. I think you have a Discord, correctly, right?
I do. It's actually not a Hedron Fairy Discord, surprisingly. My Discord server is called Reborn in Spring, and the whole point of it is it's supposed to be a place for like self-discovery, self-reflection, self-improvement, more importantly, and fresh beginnings, fresh starts. So there is a little section, because it is like my Discord server, so there's like a little bit of my stuff there. But ultimately, it's got nothing to do with me. I just run the place. So if you're looking for a place to come, just try to be a better person. I like to think it's a relatively supportive community. I think I've done a decent job having people there who will help build you up and help offer advice when wanted and whatnot. But that's what we're all about. Is we're all about like washing the past away and ending each day a little bit better than we started it. And that's what Reborn in Spring is all about. Also, I do need to shout out Eldritch Garden, because as I have mentioned previously, not here, but generally, I've started a streamer group, not a VTuber group, but a streamer group. And Eldritch Garden is, I call it a content creation coalition, because it's got a bunch of people that I think are worth. It's essentially a banner that we can point to and say, hey, go check out this team of people. Yeah, exactly. It's a banner we can point to say, hey, these are other people that we endorse. Please go check them out. And there will be collabs in future. Everything is very, I don't want to say hibernating, but everything's very preliminary right now. We're still getting things set up. People are in various stages of doing this regularly or hiatus or whatever. So we're building things up. But and yeah, Reborn in Spring is also not super active right now, but we still post there.
Okay. But yeah, so anyone, guys, please, I'm going to give you the time to plug yourself. But yeah, Hedron Fairy, Hedron Musk, Elon Fairy, whatever you want to call them. They're very focused, and I'm excited to see what they bring. So now tell us where we can find you.
Well, I'm Hedron Fairy everywhere. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch. I have a YouTube channel, but youtube.com/Hedron Fairy doesn't exist yet. But if I can get 200 subs, then I can get my vanity URL. So hopefully. But I'm Hedron Fairy everywhere. I have a unique enough name, apparently, that it's just not taken anywhere. Knock on wood, because now someone's going to take it on a platform I don't have. But I've got the important ones, so you could just find me anywhere under Hedron Fairy.
Here, I'll put the @ Here's his @ guys. Please
there you
go check him out on Twitch, Twitter, Discord as well, correctly?
Yeah, at Hedron Fairy 1995 is the Discord number.
Yeah.
So I don't accept random friend requests, but send me a message first.
Exactly. Like, just if you're gonna call me, text me first.
Exactly.
So continue. My voice is going out, so here,
that's fair.
And end everything off with a nice little message to the audience.
Oh Lord, why is this the part that I'm now tongue-tied on? Subscribe to PewDiePie. Did I do it right? I don't think I did it right.
I think that's good. Thank you. I want to say thank you guys for coming out to the Crimson Room. Thank you to Hedron Fairy for just enlightening us and inspiring us and just got us overall just feeling some type of way. Thank you for the 100 bits. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much for having me and for listening to my insane ramblings for 2 hours.
I was with you this whole time. Like, I don't even think it's insane. I think it's just very charismatic, and thank you for like just sharing so much in terms of like your whole idea. And thank you Zoink Scoob for the, I think that's 100 bits. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, like, again, thank you for like making this such a now it's very, what's the word? It's not educating. It is educating as well, but it's very fun, funducating experience. Like funducating experience, because there's so much that goes in and such an interesting mindset. Like I said, Six Bane is here.
There she is.
But I just want to say thank you so much for like allowing all of us to get like a glimpse into your headspace and taking us on a journey and explaining your overall process where you're going to go from point A to point B to eventually point Z. And
hopefully,
damn, bro, I'm just fucking excited now. Like, thank you.
It's gonna take a long time, but I know where I'm going.
It's
just gonna take a while to get there.
That's a beautiful thing.
Also, I'm an open book. Anybody ask me anything. I'm desperate for conversation.
But that'll be it, guys. We'll probably be back tomorrow playing Pokemon Platinum Nuzlocke. I don't know what time. Probably around 4. I'm horrible at making a schedule. But yeah, so I can't wait to see you guys there. I'm going to have to. My computer's fucking lagged out on me from the beginning of this. So luckily enough, the stream is held up. So I'm gonna have to restart my computer as we go. But thank God for Twitch and saving the VOD, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thank you guys so much for coming out. I want to say thank you for all of Hedron's amazing fans coming out here and showing him love and support. Can I rate through my phone? I wish I could rate. Can I rate through my phone? I would love to rate somebody right now.
You can do /rate in chat.
Let me see if I can do /rate. /raid. Okay, perfect. Are you gonna stream currently right after this or no?
I'm probably gonna go eat something, but Friday is Metroid, so yes, I'm gonna be streaming after this.
Okay, dang it, you're not gonna be streaming. Okay, who's currently live right now? Let's look.
If you want suggestions,
I'll take a big
friend
suggestion.
A friend of mine and potential future Eldritch Garden member Annie the Tanuki is currently streaming.
Can you type that out for me real quick so I can add that into it, if you don't mind?
I most certainly can.
Oh my lord, I felt so bad. I was like, I want to raid someone.
Boink. There we go.
Okay. Annie Tanuki.
I feel bad because she asked me a couple days ago, "Hey, do you have a slot open?" And I'm like, "Yes," and we haven't talked since. So
wow. That is.
I've been busy, all right? I have to play a lot of Super Metroid, okay? I don't care if beaten it 12 times. I have to just replay it over and over.
See,
it takes up a lot of my time.
My favorite Metroid is always going to be the Fusion.
Okay, all right. That's acceptable. I was about to say choose your words carefully. That's acceptable.
But I say that only because Metroid Fusion, the soundtrack is so unnerving, and it's just a fun game, I think.
Also, the SAX is such a good bad guy.
Yo, yeah. He gives scary feels. Damn it, how do I do it through the phone? Yes, that's what I want to do. Perfect. All right, we did it. Yay! Now I can turn my computer off.
There you go.
Okay, guys, don't forget to go tell Annie Tanuki that this is from Hedron Fairy. He sniped this. He's the one who set up the hit. Go blow that up. Well, I'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye. Say bye, Hedron.
Bye-bye. Ciao for now.
Peace.